In the next few minutes, you'll discover something that could literally save your life, something hiding in plain sight in your kitchen right now. I'm going to share with you 10 critical facts about a common ingredient that most people use incorrectly every single day, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect yourself and your loved ones from its hidden dangers. Salt, that innocent-looking white granule sitting in your kitchen cabinet, might seem harmless, but what I'm about to reveal will change how you think about it forever. You see, salt isn't just a seasoning, it's a powerful substance that can either support your health or quietly destroy it, and the difference comes down to understanding something most people never learn. Every day, millions of people unknowingly turn this essential mineral into a slow-acting poison, not because salt itself is evil, but because they've never been taught the critical difference between using salt wisely and using it dangerously. The shocking truth is that most of us learned to use salt from watching others who also didn't know the real facts. Here's what makes this so dangerous: your body actually needs salt to survive, but there's an invisible line that separates life-supporting salt from health-destroying salt, and most people cross that line without even realizing it. The difference between the right amount and too much isn't measured in cups or tablespoons, it's measured in tiny increments that add up over time. What's particularly alarming is that the damage from too much salt doesn't announce itself with immediate pain or obvious symptoms. Instead, it works silently, day after day, year after year, slowly compromising your body's most vital systems while you go about your normal routine, completely unaware of what's happening inside. The food industry has spent decades conditioning us to crave more salt than our bodies can safely handle, and they've hidden excessive amounts in foods you would never suspect. This means that even if you never touch a salt shaker, you might still be consuming dangerous levels every single day. But here's the good news: once you understand the 10 critical points I'm about to share, you'll have the power to protect yourself immediately. You don't need expensive supplements, special diets, or complicated meal plans. You just need the right knowledge, and that's exactly what you're about to get. Your body is an incredibly sophisticated machine that requires precise amounts of different nutrients to function properly, and salt is one of the most critical. But here's where most people get confused: the amount your body actually needs versus the amount most people consume creates a dangerous gap that leads to serious health problems. The human body needs approximately 500 milligrams of sodium per day to maintain proper nerve function, muscle contractions, and fluid balance. That's roughly 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a surprisingly small amount that would easily fit in the palm of your hand. However, the average person consumes between 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams daily, which means they're getting 6 to 8 times more than their body can safely process. This excess doesn't just pass through your system harmlessly, instead, it forces your body into a constant state of damage control. Your kidneys, which are responsible for filtering excess sodium, become overworked and strained. They start retaining more water to dilute the excess salt, which increases your blood volume and puts tremendous pressure on your cardiovascular system. When your blood volume increases, your heart must work significantly harder to pump blood throughout your body. This constant extra workload causes your heart muscle to thicken and your arteries to stiffen, creating the perfect conditions for high blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. What's particularly dangerous is that this process happens gradually, so you might not notice any symptoms until significant damage has already occurred. The kidneys, being forced to work overtime, begin to lose their efficiency over time. They start allowing important minerals like calcium to leak out of your body while holding on to excess sodium. This creates a cascade effect where your bones become weaker, your muscles don't function as well, and your overall energy levels decline. But the damage doesn't stop there. Excess salt also affects your brain's delicate chemistry. High sodium levels can interfere with the blood-brain barrier, potentially leading to inflammation that affects memory, concentration, and cognitive function. Research has shown that people who consume high amounts of salt over many years have increased rates of dementia and cognitive decline. Most people have no idea how much salt they're actually consuming because they've developed unconscious habits that bypass their natural awareness. The most dangerous habit is what I call automatic seasoning, where you reach for the salt shaker before you've even tasted your food, a behavior that's been programmed into us from childhood. Think about your typical day. You probably add salt to your eggs at breakfast without measuring, sprinkle it on your lunch salad by eye, and give your dinner an extra dash because it looks like it needs it. Each of these unmeasured additions might seem insignificant, but they compound throughout the day and accumulate over weeks, months, and years. The problem with unmeasured salt use is that your taste buds adapt to higher levels over time. This means that what tasted perfectly seasoned to you last year might taste bland today, leading you to add even more salt to achieve the same satisfaction. It's a progressive cycle where your salt tolerance keeps increasing, but your body's ability to handle that salt remains the same. Many people also have trigger foods that cause them to automatically reach for salt. Bread always gets buttered and salted, vegetables are automatically seasoned regardless of their natural flavor, and soups are enhanced before being tasted. These automatic responses mean you're often adding salt to foods that already contain adequate or even excessive amounts. The timing of salt consumption also matters more than most people realize. Adding salt to foods right before eating them delivers a concentrated hit to your system, whereas salt that's been incorporated during cooking has time to distribute evenly and be partially processed. That last-minute sprinkle at the table is often the most harmful addition of the day. Restaurant dining compounds this problem because chefs typically use much more salt than home cooks, knowing that high salt levels create immediate flavor satisfaction and encourage repeat customers. When you eat out frequently, you're training your palate to expect these elevated salt levels, making home-cooked food taste bland by comparison. Social eating situations also create pressure to oversalt foods. When sharing meals with others, there's often an unconscious competition to make food taste better, which usually means saltier. Family traditions around heavily salted foods create emotional connections that make the most dangerous salt in your diet isn't what you consciously add to your food, it's the salt that food manufacturers hide in products where you would never expect to find it. This hidden salt accounts for approximately 75% of the sodium most people consume daily, which means that even if you never touch a salt shaker, you could still be consuming dangerous levels. Bread is one of the worst offenders. A single slice of commercial bread can contain 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium, which means a typical sandwich delivers half of your daily sodium needs before you add any other ingredients. The salt in bread isn't there for flavor, it's used to improve texture, extend shelf life, and make the product more addictive by triggering cravings for more carbohydrates. Processed meats represent another massive source of hidden sodium, with some varieties containing over 1,000 milligrams per serving. Deli turkey, ham, bacon, and sausages are cured and preserved using salt-based processes that penetrate deep into the meat. Even products labeled as low sodium often contain 400 to 500 milligrams per serving, which is still a significant portion of your daily allowance. Canned soups are particularly deceptive because they often taste mild or even bland, yet a single serving can contain 800 to 1,200 milligrams of sodium. Manufacturers use salt to enhance flavors that are lost during the canning process, and they know that higher salt levels encourage people to purchase and consume more of their products. Cheese, even natural varieties, contains substantial amounts of sodium because salt is essential to the cheese-making process. However, processed cheese products contain additional sodium from preservatives and flavor enhancers. A single slice of processed cheese can contain 200 to 400 milligrams of sodium, and most people consume multiple servings without realizing the sodium impact. Condiments and sauces deliver concentrated doses of hidden salt. Ketchup, soy sauce, salad dressings, and marinades can contain 100 to 500 milligrams per tablespoon. Since most people use multiple tablespoons of these products, they're often adding 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium to meals that already contain significant. When your body is simultaneously dealing with excess salt and insufficient water, the damage to your health accelerates dramatically, creating a perfect storm of cellular dysfunction that affects every organ system. This combination is particularly dangerous for older adults, whose kidneys are already less efficient and who often don't feel thirst as acutely as younger people. Dehydration alone forces your body to work harder to maintain basic functions, but when combined with high salt intake, your kidneys face an impossible task. They need adequate water to filter excess sodium from your blood, but without sufficient hydration, they begin to shut down non-essential functions and hold on to whatever water they can find, leading to dangerous mineral imbalances. When your blood becomes concentrated with both salt and reduced water content, it becomes thicker and more difficult for your heart to pump. This puts enormous strain on your cardiovascular system and can trigger heart palpitations, chest pain, and dangerous blood pressure spikes. Many emergency room visits for heart problems are actually caused by this salt dehydration combination. Your brain is particularly vulnerable to this toxic combination because it requires a constant supply of properly balanced blood to function. When blood becomes too concentrated with salt and too low in water, cognitive function declines rapidly. You might experience confusion, dizziness, headaches, and difficulty concentrating, symptoms that are often dismissed as normal aging. The cellular damage from salt dehydration is severe and often irreversible. Cells throughout your body begin to shrivel and lose their ability to perform essential functions. Muscle cells can't contract properly, leading to weakness and cramping. Nerve cells can't transmit signals effectively, causing numbness and tingling, and organ cells begin to die off permanently. Your skin provides visible evidence of this internal damage, becoming dry, flaky, and aged-looking as cells lose their ability to retain moisture, but the same process is happening to cells throughout your body that you can't see. Your liver, kidneys, heart, and brain cells are all suffering similar damage. Temperature regulation becomes compromised when salt and dehydration combine, making it difficult for your body to cool itself. There's one seemingly innocent habit that transforms ordinary meals into health hazards, and it happens at dinner tables across the world millions of times every day. This habit is so automatic that most people don't even realize they're doing it, yet it's responsible for a significant portion of the excess salt that damages our health over time. The mistake is tasting your food and then adding salt anyway, even when the food already tastes perfectly fine. This behavior has become so ingrained in our culture that many people consider it normal table etiquette. However, this automatic salt addition often doubles or triples the sodium content of meals that were already properly seasoned during cooking. Most home-cooked meals contain adequate salt when prepared with standard recipes. The salt added during cooking has time to penetrate the ingredients, distribute evenly, and create balanced flavors. When you add more salt at the table, you're creating an uneven distribution of sodium that hits your taste buds intensely but provides no additional culinary benefit. Restaurant meals are particularly problematic because professional chefs already use much more salt than home cooks, knowing that higher sodium levels create immediate flavor satisfaction and encourage repeat business. When you add table salt to restaurant food, you're often increasing already excessive sodium levels to truly dangerous amounts. The psychological aspect of this habit is fascinating and troubling. Many people add salt not because the food needs it, but because they've been conditioned to believe that salt makes everything taste better. This conditioning often begins in childhood when well-meaning parents automatically salt children's food, teaching them that unsalted food is somehow incomplete or inadequate. Social pressure also plays a role in this destructive habit. When dining with others, there's often an unspoken expectation to enhance shared meals, and salt is the easiest way to demonstrate culinary engagement. Family traditions around heavily salted foods create emotional connections that make it difficult to break this pattern even when you understand the health consequences. The timing of this salt addition makes it particularly harmful because it delivers a concentrated dose of sodium directly to your system without the buffering effect of cooking time. When salt is added during cooking, if you're taking medications for heart conditions, high blood pressure, kidney problems, or diabetes, excess salt consumption can literally cancel out the benefits of your prescriptions, creating a dangerous situation where you think you're managing your health while actually undermining your treatment. This interaction between salt and medications is one of the most overlooked aspects of chronic disease management. Blood pressure medications work by helping your arteries relax and your kidneys eliminate excess fluid, but when you consume high amounts of salt, you're forcing these same systems to work against your medication. It's like trying to empty a bathtub while someone else is filling it with a fire hose. Your medication can't keep up with the damage caused by excessive sodium intake. Diuretic medications, commonly prescribed for heart and kidney conditions, are designed to help your body eliminate excess water and sodium. However, when you consistently consume high amounts of salt, these medications become less effective and may even cause dangerous electrolyte imbalances. Your doctor might increase your medication dosage when the real problem is simply too much salt in your diet. Diabetes medications face similar challenges when combined with high salt intake. Excess sodium interferes with insulin function and makes it harder for your body to regulate blood sugar levels. Many diabetics struggle with medication effectiveness not because their prescriptions are wrong, but because hidden salt in their diet is working against their treatment plan. Heart medications, including those prescribed after heart attacks or for heart failure, work best when your cardiovascular system isn't under constant pressure from excess sodium. When you continue consuming high amounts of salt while taking heart medications, you're essentially forcing your heart to work harder while trying to help it work more efficiently. Kidney medications are particularly affected by salt intake because the kidneys are responsible for processing both the medication and the excess sodium. When your kidneys are overwhelmed with salt, they can't properly metabolize medications, leading to either reduced effectiveness or dangerous accumulations of the drug in your system. The financial cost of this salt-medication interaction is staggering. When medications become less effective due to salt interference, doctors often prescribe additional drugs or your brain, which controls every aspect of your physical and mental function, is particularly vulnerable to the effects of excess salt consumption, yet this connection is rarely discussed in mainstream health conversations. The impact of high sodium intake on cognitive function, memory, and long-term brain health represents one of the most serious consequences of our salt-heavy modern diet. The blood-brain barrier, which protects your brain from harmful substances in your bloodstream, can be compromised by consistently high salt levels. When this protective barrier weakens, inflammatory substances can enter brain tissue, causing damage to neurons and interfering with the chemical signals that control thought, memory, and emotion. Research has shown that people who consume high amounts of salt over many years experience measurable declines in cognitive function, including reduced ability to concentrate, impaired problem-solving skills, and difficulty forming new memories. These changes often begin years before they become noticeable, meaning the damage accumulates silently over time. The hippocampus, your brain's primary memory center, is especially sensitive to salt-induced inflammation. When this region becomes inflamed due to excess sodium, it becomes less efficient at converting short-term memories into long-term storage. Many people attribute memory problems to normal aging when they're actually caused by dietary choices that could be easily modified. High salt intake also affects the production and regulation of neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that allow brain cells to communicate with each other. When sodium levels are consistently elevated, the production of important neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin becomes disrupted, leading to mood changes, depression, and anxiety that seem to appear without obvious cause. Sleep quality suffers significantly when salt intake is high because excess sodium interferes with the production of melatonin and other hormones that regulate sleep cycles. Poor sleep quality then compounds cognitive problems during waking hours, creating a cycle where salt-induced sleep disruption leads to impaired mental function the following day. The vascular system that supplies blood to your brain becomes compromised by high salt intake, leading to reduced oxygen. Now that you understand the serious risks associated with improper salt use, let's focus on the practical strategies that will allow you to enjoy flavorful food while protecting your health for years to come. The key is not to eliminate salt entirely, but to use it strategically and mindfully in ways that enhance your meals without endangering your well-being. The most important change you can make is to cook with salt rather than adding it at the table. When salt is incorporated during the cooking process, it has time to penetrate ingredients, distribute evenly, and create balanced flavors without requiring large amounts. Start with small amounts and taste as you cook, adding gradually if needed rather than dumping in unmeasured quantities. Reading food labels becomes crucial for managing your total daily sodium intake, since most of your salt consumption comes from processed foods rather than what you add yourself. Focus on choosing products with less than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving, and remember that serving sizes on labels are often much smaller than what people actually eat. Measuring your salt intake precisely, at least initially, helps you understand how much you're actually consuming versus how much you think you're using. Use measuring spoons rather than shaking salt directly from containers, and keep a food diary for a week to track your total daily sodium from all sources, including hidden salt in processed foods. Hydration plays a critical role in helping your body handle the salt you do consume. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water daily, and increase this amount if you exercise, live in a hot climate, or consume higher amounts of sodium. Proper hydration helps your kidneys process salt more efficiently and reduces the strain on your cardiovascular system. Gradually reducing your salt intake allows your taste buds to readjust without making food seem bland or unappetizing. Most people find that reducing salt by 25% initially goes unnoticed, then they can reduce by another 25% a few weeks later. Within a month or two, foods taste more flavorful because you can taste individual ingredients rather than just salt. Focus on enhancing natural flavors through herbs, spices, citrus juice, vinegar, and aromatic vegetables like onions and garlic. These alternatives provide complex flavors that make salt less necessary while adding